I'm a guy that's 25. Lego Star Wars is my life. I like Ryan Johnson. I'm Rich Boy J. Hello boyos, Rich Boy J here, back again with another video. This is going to be another episode of Your Questions Answered. Your Questions Answered, the Q&A series that I do here on this channel. So if you want to see one of your questions answered, leave it in the comment section below. Make sure it's Lego, Star Wars, or Lego Stars related, and then check back next week to see if you made the cut. First question this week comes from Holgiskatu. He says, that intro was hilarious. Shout out to Playmation once again. That was a pretty good intro. He says, question, what is the biggest build that you've accidentally destroyed while building? So fortunately, I haven't had too many experiences with this, but I've talked about in this series two things that have been destroyed. The first one was a story I told about my pod race mock, how it was basically like in the back of an SUV. I was driving over a hill on the way to a convention. There was a wreck on the other side of the hill, so I had to slam on the brakes, and basically everything that was in the third row of the SUV ended up in the front row of the SUV, just to explain just how devastating that braking was. But as so far as another scenario where something actually broke in my hands, I have to go back to Scarif 1.0, the mock that Garrett and I was building. I don't know if I've ever actually told this story publicly, but basically, like, we were up working on this thing up until midnight essentially, and then when we finished, we're like, okay, cool, like, last thing we'll do, because the convention is tomorrow morning, we'll go load it up into Garrett's truck, and then we'll be good to go when we wake up in the morning. I swear we picked this thing up and it just crumbled right in our hands, like right there in my room, right when we got done. So we basically had to spend the rest of the night rebuilding it. And really the only reason this happened was because Garrett was so stubborn at the beginning of our mock building days. I tried to convince him so many times to just buy base plates and use base plates. Like, they significantly increase the rigidity of your and sturdiness of your mocks, but he had to learn the hard way, unfortunately. So we ended up staying up probably until like 2 or 3 a.m. that night, but we did eventually get it done, and we were much more careful about getting it into his truck once we finished that up. Yeah, breaking mocks isn't fun, especially when it's like the night before a convention. I'm usually mostly chill about building mocks if it's something that isn't time sensitive. Like, if someone took one of my mocks and like accidentally knocked them over, I'm not gonna rage. I enjoy building Lego, so I'm not gonna get upset about having to build Lego. You know, it is what it is. But when it's time sensitive like that, and you know, you're on the verge of basically just loading your mock into the car, like you're ready to go, and it just crumbles in your hands, that is another level of disappointment. Next question comes from Caleb. He says, what's one set they haven't made from each trilogy that you would like to see? This is a good question. Let's start off with the prequels. If I had to pick one prequel set for them to make, I might just go with the Kamino set. Like, Kaminoans are, I think, the most noteworthy alien from the prequels that we're missing. So I'll probably go with some sort of Kamino set. I think we need anything from Kamino to give us some Kaminoans. Ideally, I think we'd get like maybe like Lamasu, Tuanwi, and just a generic Kaminoan. That would make me very happy because we need some Kaminoans. Original trilogy. We have so many original trilogy sets. It's really hard to be like, oh, I want this one, because most things, if not everything that I'd care to see, has been made into a set from the original trilogy. For a while, I would have said anything from Cloud City, since it had been such a long time since we've gotten to Cloud City. Cloud City, even at this point in the grand scheme of things, is pretty underrepresented in Lego, but we got the UCS, oh, I'm sorry, the Master Builder Series Cloud City set, so it's hard to even ask for that now. Maybe I'll just go with some sort of updated Endor, like Ewok Village type of set. I think that we could get a greater variety of Ewoks. I mean, we see so many of them. It's never a bad thing to get more new, unique Ewoks. So maybe that's what I'll go with. And as for the sequels, the set that I'd want to see from them, I think something from Takodana would be nice. Takodana and Maz's Castle specifically had so many aliens that you could put into a set. It's kind of like the Cantina, right? Like, we're just now in 2020 finally getting a holistic Cantina set with a bunch of pretty recognizable aliens that we hadn't had for such a long time. And I kind of view Maz's Castle that same way. Of course, I would want a Bazina tall figure. Grimgar would be nice. Captain Nathaniel and Quiggled would both be amazing to have. So I think anything from Takodana, like a Master Builder Series Maz's Castle set, would be what I would go with for the sequels. Tarek Thorne says, Q&A, what's your favorite non-Star Wars set? I think I've talked about this before, but it has to be the old monorail set, the set number 6399. That set is just on another level. Like, I can't think of any similar type of like city slash town set that has come close to it, at least for me. That airport monorail is just so incredible, and I consider myself very fortunate to own one. That's one I don't think I've ever actually showed off here on this channel, but I might have to do a video on that. I might have to do a video on my airport monorail set, because that thing is just insane. It's just so big, like it's hard to set the whole thing up. It's the one set I have that takes up the most space by far, but that airport shuttle is freaking sick. Next question comes from Joaquin Gonzalez. He says, Jay, can you tell us what is your favorite character in every Star Wars movie? This is an interesting question. Starting off with episode 4, I probably got to go with Luke. Episode 5, probably go with Han. Han's probably the character I enjoy seeing the most in episode 5. Episode 6, I might go back to Luke. Luke has really changed a lot in these films, and this is like the culmination of that. Episode 1's rough. I can't really... Is it bad to say I don't really like any of the characters in episode 1? Maybe Anakin, honestly. I mean, he's just a little kid, and his acting really isn't the best, but I think he shows more emotion than most people in that film, and I don't know, I might just go with Anakin. That really feels so wrong to say. Episode 1, I don't know if I can choose a favorite character from that movie. For me, it's like the lesser of many evils. Episode 2, kind of the same way, honestly. Like, I mean, I cannot stand Obi-Wan in episode 2. Anakin's pretty cringe in that movie. I'm gonna go with Padme. Padme, I think, is the most tolerable character in episode 2 for me. Episode 3, I gotta go with the Emperor. I think, yeah, Palpatine is pretty good in that movie. Palpatine's really good in episode 3. Episode 7, I might go with Finn. I'll probably go with Finn for episode 7. Episode 8, episode 8's hard. There's so many. Like, I love moments with Luke. I love moments with Kylo. I love moments with Rey. There's moments that I love with Finn too. I might go with Kylo. I think Kylo really shines in episode 8. Maybe Poe's still good in that movie too. Episode 8 is actually difficult for me to choose. When you have a movie where like every main character has an arc, like every character is really developing, it's hard to just single one out and be like, that's the arc I like the most, because so many of them are good. I might stick with Kylo. I think I'll stick with Kylo. Kylo was really interesting to watch in episode 8. Episode 9, I might just go with Rey. I might just go with Rey. I mean, I didn't love Rey. I mean, Rey's fine in episode 9. Rey Palpatine is not fine in episode 9. But I liked just seeing more of her. So I'll go with Rey for episode 9. Rogue One, Jin's probably the most interesting character, but K2SO definitely shines in that movie. But I'll go with Krennic. Krennic's going to be the one I go with there. Krennic was done very well in Rogue One. And Solo, I guess Han works very well in that movie. Is that all the Star Wars movies? Yeah, that's it. Got them all out of the way. Those are my favorite characters from every Star Wars movie. Brickblast Production says, I hope they make a Barriss Offee bust UCS style set. And what exactly do you plan on doing with this Barriss Offee bust UCS style set? Final question comes from Gabriel Brown. He says, will anything make you change your mind on The Mandalorian and start watching again? I put this question in here really to answer it, but also to kind of give my perspective on Star Wars right now. I'm not just going to go off complaining a lot. I know you guys are probably tired of hearing me complain about Star Wars. But I do want to talk about why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling. I feel like, I don't know, there's people out there who legitimately just think I'm a troll, like think that I'm like going against Mandalorian because it's popular and that's like the cool thing to do. And I mean, if you feel that way, I don't know if there's anything I can do to change your mind other than just trying to convey to you that this is 100% how I feel. At the end of the day, I like what I like, I dislike what I dislike, and that's just how people work. Like, you shouldn't be shocked when someone doesn't like something that you like. Like, it's all subjective, it's all up to, you know, your whims. So I mean, I like the color blue, you might not like the color blue. Do I need to like blue for a reason? No, I just like the color blue. Anyways, so let me first answer your question. He says, will anything change your mind on The Mandalorian and start watching again? I thought about this very hard. My initial reaction was probably not, But here's kind of where I've settled at. I think the biggest reason The Mandalorian season 2 specifically, has hit me so hard and made me just so turned off by it is because it's not just Mandalorian in itself, but it seems like a culmination of like Star Wars kind of trending in a certain way. Star Wars trending more towards nostalgia, Star Wars trending more towards, rather than giving new stories that propel the galaxy forward and they're filling in blanks, giving us more information about things we already know. And that's not a bad thing, right? Like, there's tons of things in Star Wars that people might genuinely just want to know about, and I can't say they're wrong for feeling that way. However, I think back, for what Star Wars means to me and some of the best Star Wars moments I've had, and I go back to The Force Awakens. Leading up to The Force Awakens was a level of hype that I'll probably never get to experience again in my life. Like, unless Star Wars for some reason goes away for another 10, 20, 30 years, I don't know if I'll ever feel about anything the way I felt leading up to The Force Awakens. So why did I feel this way? Well, it was new, it was fresh, it was unknown. The galaxy was literally moving forward, like we were getting a continuation of the story of Star Wars with new characters. Like, some old characters are in the mix, but it was still ultimately about those new characters. It was like learning about the universe. I swear I was scouring the internet trying to find any information about this movie because I was just so interested in understanding like how the galaxy works now. It was just such a foreign idea to me, having Star Wars so far removed from what we previously knew on the big screen. And that was super exciting for me, getting to read like Bloodline, for example, leading up to The Force Awakens, having things framed for me. So then when I got to the movie, I'd soaked in all this information, and the movie was essentially going to be the payoff. The movie was going to be me really getting to experience firsthand just what the galaxy was like. So then I think about like the trend of Star Wars now, like what is the appeal, what is the draw, what do most of these properties what are most of the properties trying to do to get us hooked? The hook, it seems to me, is no longer like, hey, like this is a new part of Star Wars to sink your teeth in. Like, you can look into all these books to kind of understand where the galaxy is, and then watch the movie to get the payoff. It seems that things are kind of the reverse way now. It's like, you got the payoff, right? The original trilogy was the payoff, and now you're just getting blanks filled in. Like, that the Republic turned into the Empire, but now it's like, okay, how did that happen? Like, what is the information for that? And for me, that is significantly less interesting than, say, like, oh, the Republic is now, or the Empire rather, is now the New Republic. Like, read up on it, and then the movie's going to show you exactly what that looks like now. I don't know if that makes sense. Hopefully you guys get where I'm coming from with this. To sum this all up, first and foremost, I really just want to see something new. I think that's what it really boils down to. Like, I really want to see something new. I think that's really what it boils down to. I want to have, a trilogy on the horizon, or made apparent that, like, yes, like, this is the direction Star Wars is going. This is the story moving forward in some way. Read up on all these little things to kind of understand what that might be like, and then you'll be excited for the movie when you get that ultimate payoff. Answering questions that I may or may not have about existing Star Wars just isn't my forte. It just really isn't the reason I go to Star Wars and I love Star Wars. Like, those things can be cool, and I mean, there's certainly a place for those things in Star Wars, but at this point, as we stand, like, we don't know what the next trilogy is going to be. Like, the one movie we have announced is, Rogue Squadron, which, I don't know, like, it might be in the New Republic. It's so hard to tell at this point. But it does seem to still be pretty derivative. I mean, it's called Rogue Squadron, for Christ's sake. And that simply just doesn't strike me as, like, yes, we're moving the story of Star Wars further, but instead, oh, like, people like pilots, people like rebel pilots, resistant pilots, whomever, let's give them a story about those guys. So I think what this all ultimately boils down to is, I think I will give Mando Season 2 a chance at some point. But the first thing I'm going to need to see is just some sort of commitment on Disney's behalf to push Star Wars forward, to give us something new with Star Wars. The galaxy right now is very tightly knit and connected, and we're just getting more and more details about how the things we already know about works, and that's just not what I'm interested in seeing. So when I see a commitment on Disney's behalf to move Star Wars forward, you know, maybe when they announce whatever the heck the next trilogy is going to be, if it's something new, if it's something for me to get excited about Star Wars moving forward, I'll feel much better about, you know, looking into these other properties that are just basically filling in blanks. But until then, like, it's hard for me to get excited about what is essentially the same old stuff over and over again. So I hope that maybe clears some of the stuff up. I know, like, Mando's over now, and I want it to kind of give a summary, a crystallization of kind of where everything went. It's kind of weird to think about, right? Like, it doesn't seem like it was that long ago that I watched the first episode and I was like, I'm done watching Mando. And, you know, now it's done. Like, season 2 is over with, and, like, I stuck with it. I haven't watched it, and I'm not really excited to watch it. I really just want something new from Star Wars. The High Republic could be that, but the High Republic still is just leading into the prequels. You know, like, that's still just not it. You know, I just want something new. I want something fresh. I want to feel like the galaxy's moving forward in some way. And that'll ultimately make me happy about Star Wars. So that's going to finish up the video, guys. If you like what I do, go ahead and support the video by hitting the like button, support the channel by smashing that subscribe button, and I'll be back again very soon.